Hey, welcome to the Bean Project, everybody. This is your host, Pinto Bean. Today's topic we're going to talk about is friends, friendships, acquaintances, what they mean to you, what they mean to us, what the true definition is, and how people may define it because everybody defines it differently. And today we have a guest host, my good friend Tamika, on the line. What's going on, Tamika?
Hey y'all, what's going on? I'm a friend.
So, short story, me and Tamika have known each other probably 6, 7 years. We met doing CrossFit and have just always kept in contact. A great friend. I trust her with my life, and I love Tamika to death. So she is what I call a true friend. Um, so yeah, Tamika. So what we're going to talk about today is the meaning of friendship and like acquaintances and you know just friends, because everybody uses these terms in different ways and different fashions, and it just irks me sometimes when you hear the word being used by people and they don't understand what the meaning is.
Right.
So in your like, tell me what a friend is to you and what's an acquaintance.
To me, I would say a friend is, well, first of all, I guess you kind of got to go back to like what is the definition? Like what is the book definition? Because I'm a teacher. So what is the what is the book definition of a friend? And it's basically defined as a person who knows and with whom has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family like relations. But we all know that it doesn't have to be family. So to me, a friend is, my definition of a friend is someone who I have known and they know like the ins and the outs. They know the good and the bad. They are there through the good, the bad, the thick, the thin, and the ugly. And I would say a lot of friends that I have, they've known me for years. My best friend has known me for 40 years basically. I have friends in college too. Those are my true friends. Like those are the ones who know everything. And I don't care if we fall out. That's just gonna be it, because no, we still gonna be friends. That's just gonna be the no, we're gonna be friends to the end. That's gonna be, we're gonna make up somehow, some way, because we've had that bond and understanding. Acquaintances to me are people who you just may not hang out with all the time. A lot of people like to make friends at work. Those are acquaintances to me. We'll never be friends. No, I'm not friends with anybody from my job. So it just really depends on what category you define it as. But my definition is someone who ace, my best friend, my bosom buddy, and someone who I can always count on. Everyone can't necessarily say that. So it's
And,
just mhm.
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, I totally agree with you because, to me, a friend is like you said, it's like your ride or die. It's somebody that is going to be there in the good times, the bad times, and just no matter what you need them, they're going to be there.
Right.
Now there are different levels of friends, I believe. There are friends that yes, they're going to be there, but they may not be as supportive as some other friends may be. So, do I say there's levels to this shit? I definitely do.
Right. No, well,
Um,
that's definitely levels. It is levels to it, and you got to understand too, the level they. I think they should understand the level that they're on as well. Like I know I have friends. I know I can call you in Thailand and be like, "Oh well, I need something." I would like to think in my mind that you guys would be there, and vice versa, and my friends too. I know that there are some people who I probably wouldn't be able to do that with, and that's just the category. That doesn't make them a bad person. It
mhm.
just makes them who, well, it just makes the relationship that we have, and that's just what it is. I would say with women though, and we've talked about this too, and my friends and I have talked about this. A lot of women, especially women, do not know how to be friends to other women. If I say that I'm your friend, I am your friend. I'm going to call, I'm going to check up on you. I'm not calling because I want something. I'm calling because I have a genuine concern. A lot of women do not know how to do that. And I'm kind of leery of women who say I don't have a lot of female friends. Well, I don't know how to really take that. And I understand why, because we can be catty, we can be selfish, and we can just be straight up bitches. But I do think you got to have some type of circle. You got to have somebody you can call on. But and I've had issues, and I'll speak personally, where I've had great expectations of a friend, and that they didn't have the same expectations, and that's my fault. And I can't be mad at that, because the older I get, I realize my expectation of that friendship was totally different than what theirs was. It doesn't make them a bad person. I just know how to govern myself accordingly with them at this point.
And touching on that real quick. So you're saying expectations. So when you when you meet somebody, obviously to me that you just meet somebody, they're an acquaintance because I don't know you yet. I haven't built that trust, that bond with you to say you are my friend. Again, people use that term loosely and say, oh yes, my friend over here, when you know damn well you don't know him like that. But
right.
when you finally get that bond and you finally say, okay, I deep down consider you my friend, do you have that type of conversation with them and say, what is your expectations of me as a friend, and here's my expectations of you as a friend? Do you think that's something that should be done? Because
No.
again,
No. That's
because you just said that you felt that it's your fault on one part because
because it was an unspoken, that was the thing though. It was an unspoken expectation. Because I'm so used to talking to my friends, getting it, having relationships with them. I'm used to bonding with my friends, and I've made new friends, and it didn't turn out the same way. And one of my friends will she'll tell you now, if I haven't known you in the last 10 years, we ain't gonna ever be friends. So, and she says it all the time, because she's like, listen, if you have not been there through a couple of surgeries, some deaths, some graduations, and some bad relationships, I don't know what is there. It's like it's a relationship that is built upon. But I have made mistakes of becoming friends with people, getting close with people, and thinking they were my friend, and they just weren't on that same wavelength as me. And it was an unspoken expectation. And that's my fault. I can't be mad at them for that. I just assumed that we were, and we just weren't, unfortunately. And I will say too, let me say this, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm out here just being the best friend of life and I should get an award for it, because that's just not what it is. I have not always been I'm not always a good friend to my own friends, and I make mistakes. I think my best friend and I, we had our first argument a month ago. We have never had an argument before. We're still friends, and I love her. I just talked to her for over an hour, like literally. But we can do that. I know and I had to apologize to her. She had to apologize to me, and we moved on. But she's still my friend. And I know that I'm not always the best person. I am not always the best I don't always present well sometimes, because I go through stuff just like other people.
I mean, we're
And
human.
yes, and we are human. The thing is though, I have known her and my other friends for 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know if I can have that same falling out with somebody else and it go well. I know for a fact it won't, because
You didn't
you don't really know me.
And plus you invested a lot of
Oh,
time and
invested
energy.
again. Baby showers. I done bought stuff. I done been to stuff. I've been to plays. I don't even have children, but I've been to plays, bar mitzvahs. I've been to it all. So yeah, I've invested my time. I've gone to their parents' birthdays. They're not my parents, but I've been to their parents' birthday parties. So it is an investment. And then it's when you meet new people, that's when I think you start when people start defining friendships. When you meet someone new, and that person doesn't have the same expectation of friendship as you do, which is well, and it's not unfortunate. It's just who people are.
Very true. I mean, because my best friend, I call him my brother. I mean, because we are fraternity brothers, but we've known each other since like 2001, and I know if I need him, I'll call him and he'll be right here for me, and vice versa. We've been through marriages, we've been through divorces, we've been through births, we've been through deaths. So it's that type of relationship that him and I have, that I know we may not speak every day, but it's not that we don't care for each other. We may text each other and say, hey, what's going on? But it's no matter what it is, he's always there for me and I'm always there for him. And that's what I consider a true friend. Now, some of these newer friends that we may make along the way, because I've always been the type that my mama taught me, friends come into your lives for different reasons. Some stay for short periods of time and some stay for long periods of time. But each of those times, you basically learn something from them. So people
Yes,
that you just
I
meet,
agree.
yeah, exactly. Because people that you just meet and you may kick it off real well and share a great bond and be like, you know what? I consider you my friend and I have your back and I support you in any which way possible. But then come to find out that you weren't feeling it the same way I was.
Yeah, that's true.
So what I had to learn is that, like what you stated earlier, is that we have that different understanding of what friendship really is. Because to me, my friendship to this individual was I was there for them regardless, and I would have been there regardless. But their feelings were totally different. Their
Mm-hmm.
feelings was I was not a true friend, and that whatever we did in the past together,
Mm-hmm.
it was just my fault.
Well, this is my question because I was thinking about this earlier too. Do you think that you've always been a good friend though?
To this individual or to everybody.
Just in general.
You know what? And I have to honestly admit, probably not, because I don't
Right.
think anybody is ever 100% a good friend all the time.
Right.
Because, like you said, we have lives outside of the friendships,
Mm-hmm.
and there are things that happen that may take us away from the friendship, but doesn't mean that I'm not caring for you, that I don't still think about you. So, am I always a great friend? I'm gonna say probably no. But again, we are human. But I don't love you any less.
Right. And I think too what you said earlier, because I had a friend that actually said that. And I refer to it all the time. And that's one thing that he taught me. He said, but what did you learn from this? Did you learn anything from this situation? Because if not, all this is pointless. And I think that's the main thing, that moving forward, even if that person feels a certain way, or does not feel a certain way or whatever it is, it was the lesson. And I can honestly say, in friendships that I have had, that I have played major parts in, I have learned a lot, and I have learned how to navigate now with people, because I've learned some big lessons. And also too, my biggest issue is my pride gets in the way. Unfortunately, pride gets in the way in friendships. And people say how they want like all this self peace and you want all of that, but then there's no, you didn't have a conversation, because your pride gets in the way. You don't want to communicate, you don't want to talk, and then everything else just becomes one big blob. And then it's too late to salvage the relationship, unfortunately. And that's why I'm saying, like, regardless of how that person feels, I think it's like self accountability. Like, am I, even now, am I a good friend to my child's, to my godmother's, to my goddaughter's mother? Am I a good friend to her? Because obviously if she dies, she has entrusted me with her child. So am I a good friend to her, or have I been a good friend to my best friend, or have I been a good friend out here? And I think that's the thing, really, what it's about. We can sit here all day and say, well, I thought this person cared about me, and I thought this
Mm-hmm.
person this and that. But the truth of the matter is, did I do what I was supposed to do? Was I a good friend to that person? And I have answered that on several times. No, I was not. Did I say things that I shouldn't have said? Absolutely. And you can't go back, and you can't call yourself a friend, do things, and then come back and say, oh, we're no, that's not how that works. And people don't want to deal with that type of stuff either. They just don't. And they don't have to. They don't have to deal with your issues. Like we said, they don't have to deal with your problems. You have to deal with that, and then ask yourself, well, was I a good person to Mike? I don't even think I was. I was shitty to him. And I did some messed up stuff. I said some jacked up things, and an apology is not going to fix it. And I think that's, to me, we say we have friends. We say that all the time, but I don't think we ask ourselves, have I been a good friend to these people that I'm calling a friend? Even in relationships, have I been a good girlfriend? Have I been a good boyfriend? Have I been that person that you wanted me to be? And I think the older I get, the answer is no. I have not. And I can't do anything but just try to, grow from it.
And that's all we could do as individuals and people, is you learn from mistakes, you learn from what you've done, and
Right.
you try to grow from that. Now, the same thing you're saying about friends and, in relationships, you could also say the same thing with family. Have I been a good person to certain family members? Because again, the answer is never going to be yes. If somebody sits there and says, yes, I've been a great friend to every one of my friends from the beginning to the end, you're lying. There's no way in hell that
you are lying.
you're a lie, straight up a lie. Because that means you are sitting at the right hand of the Lord, because that means you're perfect.
Yeah.
And
we're not.
And we're not, honestly. We all have, our moments where we have that selfishness where I don't want to be around certain individuals, or, you see them calling or texting, and I'll respond to that, later. I'm not doing it right now. Now, again, does that make me a bad friend? No. It's just right now I need mic time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it also blows my mind sometimes, to me, because when you have individuals that have their come to Jesus moments, and then because they have a come to Jesus moment, they want to drag you down and drag your name through the mud for no apparent reason. You weren't even in the conversation.
Well, and I think that has a lot to see, and that's what I'm saying. That right there is something. People who have come to Jesus moments, that's between you and Jesus. I don't know. I don't have any. I can't control that part. And what you're saying is, you're absolutely correct. But I just think that sometimes when people do stuff like that, again, I think it's still like a self-reflection. I mean, because at that point, you're not really having to come to Jesus moment. What you're doing, you're sending subliminal messages, and you're really you're talking about me, but you're not talking about me. And if that's the case, okay, well then fine. But at the end of the day, I still think it goes back to, even if I have a come to Jesus moment, and maybe you don't, at the end of the day, I still have to look at myself and say, okay, what is it that I need to do with this situation and with this information? People who are having come to Jesus moment, child, God bless them. But I just can't. I mean, you really you can say what you want. You can drag people's name through the mud, because that's the truth. In any fallout or whatever it is,
it happens.
It happens. And not only that is, and what you're saying, I get what you're saying, but at the same time though, I can have a how I look at it with how the situation was with you and I. It can be a totally different perception between you and I. Like you think about it one way, I think about it another way, and then the real come to Jesus is how God saw it, because because my perception, your perception are two different things. I don't agree, and I don't like it when people do stuff like that. But then I don't understand why people do it. I don't know if it makes them feel better. I don't know if it makes them look good or whatever it is. But if I'm let me say this, because I've done that. Let me say that. I'll speak for myself. I'm transparent here. I'm transparent.
Come on, preach on it to me. Come on.
Because I've done it. You get mad with somebody, and see, that's what I'm talking about. That's when that's when you really need to start questioning. If I get so upset with you, and I'm dragging your name through the mud, or I'm having these come to Jesus moments, and now I'm better than you and everything else, that means right there, you had an issue with me from top to bottom. You
Yep.
had an issue with me.
And you weren't a true friend.
You weren't a true, oh, ain't no, because you can't keep saying you. I probably wasn't a true friend to you either. we weren't friends to each other. And that's the reality. You had a problem with me, and I low-key probably had a problem with you. Nobody was communicating, nobody was saying anything, and then boom, next thing you know, you got all this stuff on Facebook, you sending sideline messages and everything else. You talking about me, I'm talking about you, and that's the freaking problem. That's the problem right there.
True.
Just say what it is. You low-key had an issue with me, but I low-key had a little bit of problem with you. I just didn't say nothing. But instead of us talking about it, we rather go around and have conversations with everybody else. That's the problem.
True.
That's
now,
the problem.
It also is a problem when, when you have these come to Jesus moments and, you dragging people's names through the mud for something that both you guys have done equally.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? You could make fun of people, you could kiki about somebody and all this good stuff, and talk about somebody like they're a dog. And now all of a sudden you have this moment, said, I feel like I shouldn't have done that, which is fine, because again, that's your self-expression. You came to light and be like, maybe I shouldn't have said these things about somebody.
Yes, yeah.
But then all of a sudden now you turn around and you are up to people's asses like you didn't even say this shit about them 3 months ago.
Right. And you're right. And the thing is though, and that's the thing too, that right there, I can't go to sleep. That's what you go to sleep with every night. I can't do it. I just cannot. I don't have the strength. I don't know. I don't get it. See that right there. I gotta kind of be careful with that one, because my question is why?
And that's it. That's why. And
that's why.
If you have that moment, if you feel like you want to apologize for all the things that you said and you've done, then that's perfectly fine, and that I applaud you for it. But don't start bringing me, you, your grandmother, your sister, your aunts, your uncles into your feelings when you're not even there to explain what was said.
This is true.
Because the person could be saying it, like you said, you're taking it in a different way sometimes. So you could be saying it how you think it went down, but me, who I may have said these things, could tell you exactly how it went down. You know what I'm saying? Because this person tried to come between me and another friend, and when I had the conversation with the other friend, they were like, well, this is what was said to me. I'm like, well, that is nowhere near the truth.
Yeah. But I think that's when if that continues, that's when the whole, first of all, that gets old. It gets old. And I think that's when we ourselves just got to do some self-reflecting and call it a day. Because you can't change what that person is going to do. I can't change what that person is going to say. I can't change how they're going to react. I can't. I cannot do that. But I know what I can change. I can change my interactions with them. I can change my interactions with other people and just be, because I can't go to sleep like that. I'm going to sleep in peace.
And girl, tell me again, how do you do it?
What?
How do you sleep? You sleep in peace.
In peace.
Yes. Let me tell you.
I want to be in peace. I'm telling you, man, I want to come home. That's the one that I love about coming to this house. I want to come home and be in peace. And if there's somebody out here that is upset with me or you don't talk to me, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Because I'm sleeping perfectly fine at night.
I'm sleeping fine, and I'm sorry. I wish things could have turned out better. I really do. But if it wasn't meant to be, and I think that's the whole point of the conversation. We're calling people out here friends very loosely. Very loosely.
And you know what I think? A thing that why we use these terms loosely more, I think, is especially like social media now with Facebook, because to be connected to somebody on Facebook, we're called friends on Facebook. So I think that's where a lot of people tend to use these words loosely, because, oh, that's my friend. No, that's not your friend. You're Facebook friends. That's not a real friend.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm
No.
saying? So again, it's these words that get misconstrued of how you should be calling somebody. And if I just meet you today, yeah, I might enjoy the conversation, but I'm not your friend.
Mm-mm. You're right.
I might meet you 10 times and I'm still not considering you my friend. You know, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
lot for you to be in my inner circle. Like my friend level, I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I may know a lot of people. But for me to sit there and say, you are my true friend, it's not a lot. Because
Yeah.
your circle should never be that large.
Yeah.
And that's just my feelings and my opinions.
Well, for me, like, I mean, I've had people that work that are, I mean, first of all, I block everybody at work. So we're not friends. Um, I just can't. But I'm friends with the people, that I'm close to, and people and you're right. The people that you have on these social sites, yes, they are 100% their acquaintances, and that's just where they need to be. And I'm kind of cautious about that now too, because I have been burned in the past. Like when I meet new people at work, it's, hey, how you doing? Have a good night and go home. I don't need to be hanging out with you because I know I just have big expectations, and I think I have hurt people and people have hurt me, and I would rather just stick with what I got.
And you know what?
And work on that.
And we are looked at as being like mean people, nasty people, the bitches, arrogant,
Oh, at work
whatever.
for sure. I am the bitch teacher at work.
And because
I am
when
the
we
bitch.
when we get to work or whatever, it's like, okay, hi, how you doing? How's your day? And I'm about my business. Because work is work. I tell people I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to do my job, to make my get my paycheck, and to progress in my career. I'm not here
Yeah.
to make friends. If we become friends along the way, that's an added bonus. But people go sometimes into their jobs like, oh, I need to make friends. And that's the wrong approach.
Yeah, it is.
Because
Or
I
just
had
people that
another
you meet, people that you just meet randomly too, though, because everyone you meet is not necessarily going to be your friend either. And that I'm
correct.
telling you, that one person in particular, I'm telling you, I refer back to that every single time. And every time I have a situation, I sit back and I say, well, what did you learn from this situation? Did you
Mhm.
learn anything? Because if not, that means you were just going through the motions. If you didn't learn anything, then why are you even talking about it? So I've learned so much, and you do have to be cautious. You have to be very cautious. And I think with any situation, you have to be cautious with who you are here calling friends. First of all, people will turn on you in a heartbeat, especially when they
Say it
don't
one more
like
time.
something.
Say it for them in the back. They didn't hear you.
people will turn people will turn on you in a heartbeat. And I think also in with certain personalities, and I'm learning this too. People with strong personalities, or I don't know what it is, you say something, everyone else has a problem. But if
Yep.
someone else can say something and express their emotions and express their feelings, they get a round of applause. I'm talking about standing ovations. They just can't get themselves together.
And they
I
can say
don't
the
know.
same exact thing.
I don't the same as, I mean, word for word. I think some of his personality, it goes back to the beginning. You really have to be careful who you're out here calling friends, because some people, just like the devil, they come to kill, steal, and destroy. And
Yep.
they really come in and they have no good intentions, and and they're watching. Some people are always watching, and as soon as you do something, like, they will turn everything around, and they be like, yeah, see, I told you he was like this, I told you he was like this, or whatever. And it's unfortunate, and that's what I'm talking about. Taking accountability for yourself. Well, you know what, that's my fault, because I let this person in my life. I was on the reserve about it, but I still let that person in, and then look where it got me. I'm telling you, like my friends say, 10, 20 years, if you haven't made it that far, I don't know what to sit up here and tell you. You're an acquaintance at this point. If
Yeah.
you had not been to a baby shower or a funeral, I can't help you. So,
Yeah. Well, Tamika, I definitely agree with a lot of the comments you said. You know, I appreciate the banter back and forth and your comments. You know, our time is coming up. I thank you for joining us on the Bean Project. You know, tune in next
I'm
time.
excited.
And, you know, thank you again.
No, thank you for having me. And I look forward to having other conversations.
Well, thank you. And tune in next time.
Bye.